Hello, teenagers.
Building their businesses. Not only is it about learning how to earn, save, and invest money.
I'm Lyndsie Berry, and I am here to share with you more ways that you can earn money on your own terms. This episode is a continuation of episode 3, where we began talking about some ways that you can earn money on your own terms.
So I'm gonna get in the game, and I'll be right back.
I hope you're pumped because I've had too much caffeine and this is going to get really, really interesting at times.
I'm more like a clown than a bullfighter, so it does make more sense.
It's also Friday and I'm stoked for that because I had a really awesome week. I killed it in a lot of areas. It was awesome. And so I'm super pumped to make this episode for you right now. I don't make these episodes on any sort of a schedule. And I wanted to tell you that because you guys are going to be creating all sorts of things in the coming weeks and months if you stick with me. And I want you to know that you're going to have to, every once in a while, just drop everything, clear your calendar, tell your friends you can't go to the movie, and sit and do what you're inspired to do. And it's better when you're inspired to do it. I create the best stuff when, a snowstorm hits and I have the afternoon free all of a sudden. I find when I schedule creative time into my calendar, I feel a little bit sort of forced into it. It's not as natural. So today you're going to get an amazing episode because I am jacked to share some cool stuff with you guys. The first thing to know about this episode is your creative talent doesn't have to be tech-based. It doesn't have to be a product or service that can only be provided online. You might be selling shelves or bed frames built out of scrap wood. You might be selling, like we talked about in episode 3, you might be selling something that you make on a sewing machine. You might be selling something that is, something that you have to physically create that isn't created on a computer. And all of those things are really great, but today's episode is going to focus on selling your talent online, and the particular talent we're going to be talking about is tech-based talent. But don't run away just yet. If you are someone who's into carpentry or fixing engines or sewing, you are going to get a lot out of this episode still. For those of you who are wanting to make an online course about your creative talent, about how to fix engines or how to build stuff out of wood with tools in your garage, or teaching Instagram and Snapchat rookies how to do all that stuff, we are going to be talking specifically about creating and marketing online courses in a future episode. Find that episode after you watch this one. Today, we're going to focus on selling your creative talent online through freelancing sites like Upwork and Fiverr. So the site that I have always used for finding freelancers is Upwork.com. So I'm going to take you through what it would look like to set up an online business through Upwork.com. You may have skills and talents such as creating videos for marketing purposes. You may be good at writing and editing. You might even want to transcribe someone's audio by, turning it into an ebook. I know a ton of people who would love to have their speeches or just some words that they recorded on their phone while they were driving transcribed into an ebook. You can also do audio editing for podcasts. You can do all sorts of different things that you literally don't have to leave the comfort of your home in your sweatpants, and you can make money at it. So we're gonna sign up. I want to work as a freelancer. And next. So go into your email and confirm by clicking the link from Upwork, which verifies your account. And now we're going to let Upwork know what kind of jobs we're looking for. So we're going to select the main services we're going to offer the client. Let's just say it's going to be design and creative. And what type? You can select up to 4. Let's say audio production, graphic design, voice talent, and other. So if you've done a fair bit of audio and video editing, you would want to let people know that by not choosing the entry level. It says here that if you're just starting your business, you should choose entry level. I disagree. If you have skills and you've used those skills, then click intermediate. As you can see, Upwork is going to charge you a fee. They are, essentially connecting you with people that are going to support your business and help you earn an income doing what you love. So they are going to charge you a fee for that. So if you want to earn, $20 an hour net of fees, then you'll have to move it up a little bit. And they're going to take a 20% service fee. As you can see, Upwork is the largest freelancing site in the world. And I'm about to explain one of the key differences between Upwork and Fiverr. You will get to set the terms, or at least negotiate the terms, with people who want to hire you to do what you do every single time. So how I often hire people to do audio and video editing and literally anything that I hire people to do on Upwork, I don't pay them by the hour. I always offer them a specific price tag for the job, and you would be wise to charge yourself out that way as well. And that's exactly how Fiverr works. You pitch a specific job or task that you're great at completing, and you have a price tag attached to that task. You also usually have 3 different packages stemming from your core talent. So I'm going to give you examples of this when we talk about Fiverr in a few minutes. But just know that it isn't even an option on Fiverr to charge by the hour, whereas it is on Upwork. Okay, so I have created a profile in Upwork. And here is how it looks and reads. I used an old picture of myself because I said that I'm 17. You have to add an actual photo of yourself in here. It can't be, a Bitmoji or something like that, because I tried, and it has to be a real photo. And so it's really important, you guys, to always use the most professional looking photo of yourself as possible. It's got to be something where you can clearly see your face. You're not making any weird expressions. You do want people to know that you know how to take yourself seriously, and you know how to take work seriously. Things that probably don't feel like work to you because you love doing them, but you still take it seriously. So make sure that the photo does fit those sort of criteria. I wrote, you need audio and video editing, and I'm the professional for the job. Since 2016, I've been mixing music and creating entertaining podcasts in GarageBand and creating attention-grabbing videos in iMovie. It's really important to use descriptive words instead of just explaining what you do. Use some of the words you're seeing here in your when you're creating your own profiles. Give them a bit of a feel for what it's like to work with you in this. Don't make promises you don't intend to keep. If you think that you can have most jobs turned around within 48 hours, say so. You're not promising to have every job turned around within 48 hours, but you are saying that you're going to do your best to do that. This is basically like a little resume is what this is, as you probably noticed. It's good to give them a little bit of insight into your work ethic and your personality. And then lastly, thank you for considering me for your next podcast or video production project. I would love to work with you. A lot of this stuff, you guys, doesn't matter what you're posting on here, you can use a lot of the words I've used here, so please do that. All right, and now in the education section, I have put this here, do-it-yourself education. And so basically, I'm honest, I don't have any formal education because I'm still in high school. Using the abundance of free online iMovie and GarageBand training, I learned how to be an audio and video editing master. So don't ever downplay your skills, you guys. You guys have skills. Talk about yourself confidently, even if you don't 100% believe it. Talk about yourself confidently. Use the words I'm using here in your profiles. And then we've got employment history. So you're going to like what I did here, and this is what I want you to do as well. So come up with some sort of a name for your company. If I were you, because you are underage, I wouldn't necessarily put your exact physical location. You're never going to need to meet up to exchange physical documents or files or anything like that. This is all going to be done online. So for your safety, I do recommend that you name a city that's maybe in the same state or province as you, but not exactly where you live, to keep yourself safe, because the world is full of weirdos. Warning: never give out personal information such as the city or town you live in. And if I were you, I wouldn't even use your true legal name. You don't want some weirdo hunting you down on Facebook or Instagram, or worse. Stay safe, teens. Been operating this business since January 2016, and I currently work here, and here's a little description. And this is optional, but I encourage you to give people a feel for who you are. And if you're not great at writing, tons of people aren't. That's why I put some stuff in here that you guys can definitely take and use for yourselves. If you do have any creations on YouTube, I strongly encourage you to take a look at the ones you've got on there before you do this and make sure it's stuff that you would want people to see. Don't ever delete the first few videos you put on. If you've been on my YouTube channel, which you are on right now, so I guess you have been, you would know that some of the first videos I made when I first started making videos are really quite horrible. They're awful, but I leave them on there because I want you guys to see the progression. I want you to see how much more confident I've become. The fact that I don't say every third word like I used to. So it's okay to leave some of your first videos on there, but maybe make a comment in here, and I'll actually just do it right now because I think it's really important. You know, just say something like that. Just make sure people know. Like, I'm not going to delete the bad videos that I posted, or they're not even bad. They're just lower quality, because you may want to do what I'm doing one day and create, a tutorial on how to get your audio and video editing company started. And you're going to want your students essentially to see the progression. You're not going to want to give that impression of, I've been perfect since I started doing this, because A, that's BS. No one's going to believe you. And B, you're not going to create a lot of quality in the world by pretending you're something that you're not. Okay. So as you probably noticed from watching the Ask Lyndsie show, I'm very, very authentic. And I think that you should be too. So hopefully a little bit of that will rub off on you. The next thing that you need to mention is your English proficiency, your availability. And for this, I put shorter term projects. Eventually get a feel for it and be like, yeah, no matter where I am, if I go traveling with my parents to Europe for 3 months, or whatever you end up doing, or you're on the road with a sports team or something like that, you can do this work from anywhere more than likely. So you may decide to change this to either longer term or both longer and short term projects. This is a fake address and postal code. This is an old phone number from a long, long time ago that I don't even have anymore. I've reviewed it. I think it's great. I'm going to submit it. We're going to go with just the basic plan, which is free, which is great. And you're now part of Upwork. Woohoo! Let's get to work. So let's take a look at this particular opportunity. I'm looking for a partner to fulfill my video services. This is really cool. This is how I always hire people. I don't pay them by the hour. I always pay them by the job. And I always separate one particular job into 2 or 3 milestones. So for example, my last job was hiring someone to format my book, because I revised my book. So we set 3 milestones. The first milestone was the print book, having that formatted. The second milestone was the ebook formatted and formatted and uploaded on Amazon. And the third milestone, was the cover. So I wanted to share a little story with you about just a few days ago, actually. My son's been doing a little bit of audio and video editing for me. When I started the Ask Lyndsie show, it really inspired him to try working for himself and to, figure out how to do some audio and video editing work that I'm doing. So I taught him how to do a couple things, but then I just said, I'm not holding your hand. I'm not teaching you this stuff. If you want to learn the way I learned. Google it and watch YouTube videos. So he did. And he figured it out, and he's really good at it, and, is paying him to do it. But when it came to the deadlines and me being like, okay, you said you were going to have this done and you don't, and now you're going to your dad's and it's not done. And like, I can't wait for you to do this. Like, I'm going to have to start hiring people to do this kind of stuff for me again. And I was a little bit surprised, honestly, that he wasn't working harder at it and that he wasn't fired up, because this kid loves money, like you do too, I'm sure, and like I do. He wants money. And he said, Mom, I think I just want to get a job. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like, what? Like, what kind of job? And he's like, well, Tim Hortons. I've always wanted to work at Tim Hortons. And I knew that. He's he's had his eye on a job at Tim Hortons or, you know, even McDonald's or A&W is his favorite. We did look online and they don't hire anyone under 16, so he can't do that right now. But and I was a little shocked, but he explained it very well to me. He said, "Mom, I love being around people. I don't like working at a computer by myself." And I was like, He's definitely more extroverted than I am, which is always very shocking to me because I think he's a mini me in so many ways. But the most terrifying thing for me about getting a job was working with other people and dealing with customers. I think I've always been the kind of person that's like, give me a project, give me something to do, and I'll get it done. But, you know, having to deal with people, oh, that's a variable that it makes me a little nervous. So we're very different, and this experience has proved that to me. It's also sort of taught me a lesson that I wanted to share with you guys, because some of you watching this are probably super fired up, like my son was, to start your own business and do some tech work online that you can sell to people through Upwork and Fiverr. But you may start doing it and you may discover that you kind of hate it. Like, you're more of an extrovert. You want to be around people. You don't love sitting at your computer and working by yourself. And if that's the case, maybe it's a better idea to get, you know, an old school job. And, you know, I worked at a gas station for 4 years. My parents owned it, so I got to start working when I was 13. I was nervous to be around people and stuff at that age, but having that job forced me to learn how to deal with people, because at school, you know, you can kind of be however you want, really, you know, for the most part. But when you're getting paid and there's that risk of getting fired, you sort of learn how to be a little more smiley and wonderful with the customers and with your coworkers too. So if you do start working on Upwork and Fiverr and you're finding that you're not loving it, a couple things that I want to remind you of. One, you might need to structure your life a little bit differently. Make sure you've got that social time. Make sure you're getting out with your friends, and don't just lock yourself in your room in front of your computer because it's all about the money. Because you might overwork yourself and you might come to a point where you think you don't want to do this. And the problem is more just that you don't have a balance between social time and work in front of your computer time. The second thing is you might want to actually get a job and work at that job part-time and do this part-time. I just wanted to share that with you and encourage you to be who you truly are, but also try to explore new things. It's really hard to know who you really are when you're a teenager. I look back on who I thought I was when I was a teenager, and a lot of it was, you know, just trying on different personalities and different interests. And so I encourage you to use the information you're learning through the Ask Lyndsie show. You know, take the shopping cart approach, put some things in your cart, and leave other stuff on the shelf. And sometimes you'll get halfway down the aisle and you'll take something out of the cart and put it back on the shelf. And that's cool. You definitely don't need to take all of the advice. These are ideas, these are strategies and concepts, but they're not for everyone. So if you're like my son, you might need to go out and get a job for a little while and get sick of bosses and coworkers before you can start your own little online business. I just finished simply creating a username, Skeeter B. My little brother will be so happy that I'm using his name. Yes, I have a brother named Skeeter, seriously. And here's the activation email. We are going to now create our profile just like we did over on Upwork. This time, however, I'm going to be a 14-year-old boy named Skeeter. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. That's different about Fiverr and Upwork is here on Fiverr, they're asking me to link my social accounts. I don't think that people hiring you to work on here need to know that much about you. I would leave all of this blank unless, for example, you want to start a Google account strictly for your business. And then you can create a small business presence on Google through that particular Gmail account. Gig title, I will get your business Instagram rocking. I think that's awesome. Okay, save and continue. Scope and pricing. Unlock your potential revenue with all 3 packages.
Hi, this is Donnie, and I'm a voiceover seller here on Fiverr under the username Donnie Voice. Welcome to packages. Think of your packages as 3 different tiers with the
Got it. Good job, whatever his name was. All right, so we are definitely doing 3 options so that people, you know, really can rarely say no to you because you have all these options for them to choose from and you know that they need what you're offering. It's just a matter of how much they're willing to spend and how much, you know, of your time and effort they want. All right, so I have set up my Fiverr profile. So you have to put your phone number in here and it has to be a real phone number. We have our first gig live on Fiverr that I want to show you guys. Let's edit description and frequently asked questions. So I'm a 14-year-old with my finger on the pulse of Instagram. By the way, when I actually get an order and I fulfill an order and someone pays me for that order, where does the money go? So what I'm going to tell you right now is if you don't have a bank account of your own with your name on it, you need that. You're going to need that to be an adult, and this whole show is about preparing you for adulting. So get a bank account now. If you don't have the most cooperative parents or guardians in your life, that could be really hard. It could make it difficult to get a bank account, but not impossible. So you're going to need to find a way to get a bank account. Well, I've disclosed in here that I'm 14 years old. For yourselves, you may not want to do that. It's up to you. But this particular package, or all 3 of these packages, include a 1-hour consultation on Skype. So I'm actually going to interview the client. I'm going to make sure I understand what they want, understand their business. If the thought of having to communicate live with the clients freaks you out, what you could do is just create a really great questionnaire. You can do that on SurveyMonkey and it's free. So you create a great survey. If your spelling and grammar isn't wonderful, make sure you get someone to look over it and make sure it makes sense. And it doesn't have to be perfect, though. Do not strive for perfection because perfection is for weirdos. All we want is something that works and something that is understandable. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Life and success and just making money, it's 80% just do it and 20% details. Use the words you see here, okay? I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to words and I've become more so over the years. So if I can help you by having you use some of the sentences or words you see here, that makes me super happy. No matter your type of business, I will create posts with eye-catching images and words and use them along with my own Instagram success secrets to increase your followers and sell your products or services on Instagram. Okay, I'll show you the requirements. This is where you would put attach a PDF or a link to SurveyMonkey. And then in the gallery section, this is just a stock image. My brother's name is Skeeter, but this is not what he looks like. This is a stock image that I got on Pexels, PEXELS.com. But definitely you want a video sort of explaining your offering, because having those 3 package sort of descriptions here is great. But I know for me personally, this stuff sometimes confuses me. Seeing it, the words doesn't always make sense. But if I can watch a video of you explaining it and add that to what I'm seeing here, then it makes total sense to me. Plus, I get to see a little bit of your personality by seeing you speak. You may not even want to put pictures of yourself on there. Your parents might not be comfortable with that, which is totally understandable. So then what you would do is use screenshots from your computer, screenshots from your phone, and you would create a little video that only has your voice in the background and maybe a little bit of unique music that you've created on GarageBand or something, because music is always a great way to hold people's attention. You want to be careful with using music that you buy on iTunes by real artists. I think that from what I can understand, that's a no-no. You can get in trouble for that. So it doesn't take rocket scientists to make some unique tunes that you can use without worrying about copyright infringement. You can make your own stuff. Who's a big doggy? It's not too little anymore. Look at the cute little face. Oh, say hi to everybody.
I just want to find a way to tell you. I can't wait to see it in your eyes. 'Cause it's a long way back.
He's always wanted to say hi to you guys, so I figured it was about time. So now that you know how to set yourself up on Upwork and Fiverr, the next step is getting paid. So, well, of course you have to land jobs first, which I don't think you're gonna have any trouble with if you use the language that I shared with you today in your profiles. Please stay in touch with me on Instagram and Facebook. I'd love to see some comments from you guys as you're doing this. Any questions or feedback on the process would be great. Any way that you can help your fellow teenager with making money. I mean, why not help everybody out, right? Go to asklyndsie.com and put your email address in there so that every time I create a new episode of this show, I can send it right to you. And of course, hit the subscribe button on this video on YouTube as well, please and thank you. It would mean a lot to me. I love doing this stuff for you guys, and I love seeing basically that it's making a difference. And the next episode will be out sometime soon. Like I said, I don't really follow a schedule with this stuff, but I have recorded a whole bunch of video with one of my favorite people.
Bust out the mom voice? Yeah, I would just bust out the headlock or something, which isn't really a karate move, which isn't even fair, right? That's probably what I would do. Okay, so we're recording. Okay. So we got that one on record. So, hey, behave yourself. You already had your chance to be on TV, now you need to just sit still.
And yeah, so look forward to sending that to you guys very soon. So we'll talk to you very soon. Bye. You can send me an email through the website, asklyndsie.com. There is a way to contact me on there. Hold on a moment. Hey, it's all good. I called you, but I didn't actually need your help with that, so we're good. Thank you, though. I called my brother. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, bye. Dirk, go now. You're in the way.